Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. A little bit of a different setup. I got a new phone, so I wanted to try to film this on my phone. I got a haircut, so my hair is a lot shorter. I kind of like it. I went pretty short. I don't know if I look older or younger, but whatever. This is what we're doing today. I want to try to film this on my phone to see if it works out, etc. So today we're going to be talking about Twisted Love. It is a book by Ana Huang. I believe it came out earlier this year. And let me just start off by saying I need to stop getting recommendations off of TikTok because I have been disappointed so many times on TikTok. Listen. I love a toxic romance. I will read romances that are just so unhealthy, with possessive men, with objectification, all that stuff. As long as I really enjoy the characters and the book and I'm having a good time, I will like the book. I will read it. I will eat it up. I don't care if the writing is bad or any of that. It's pretty easy, I would say, for me to enjoy a book if I actually like the characters and stuff like that. I don't know what the hell has been going on recently with these TikTok suggestions, but they are just a no-go for me. And Twisted Love, I have to say, sadly is one of those suggestions and one of those popular books on TikTok that I just could not enjoy. And I will let you know why. Okay, so first we're going to talk about what this book is about. So this book is about a girl named Ava and her ongoing relationship with her brother's best friend, who is, I believe he's a billionaire. He's it's giving Christian Grey vibes, okay? He's very much a Christian Grey-esque type of character. He's very broody. It's a grumpy sunshine. He literally calls her Sunshine, so it's Grumpy Sunshine. One of my favorite tropes. Basically, how the book starts out is that they've known each other, Ava and Alex, who are the couple that will soon get together. Ava has a brother. Her brother was roommates with Alex, and that's how they met in college, first year of college, and they've been best friends ever since. 8 years later, Josh, who was Ava's brother, goes on a trip to South America, and Josh asks Alex for a favor, hey, can you take care of my sister? Her ex-boyfriend is kind of stalking her and stuff like that. I just want you to take care of her. And so Josh goes on this trip to South America. Ava and Alex start to connect. Best friend's brother romance ensues. And chaos ensues. There's also a lot of mystery, a lot of intrigue. There's a lot of flashbacks to memories that Ava, something traumatic happened to her past and she just can't remember what happened. Now, I won't spoil anything for you, but I'll just say that it is part mystery, it is part romance. It's very possessive romance. It's very hardcore, there's a lot of kinks in this book, degrading. It's not supposed to be a healthy romance. And I will eat it up, okay? But in this book, I don't know what it was about Alex and the way that they developed this romance. I just could not get behind it. And let's just start first with the positives of the book. So I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. I didn't give it a 1 star because I didn't hate this book. I really did enjoy some parts of the book. First of all, I love that the main character, Ava, is Asian American. She's Chinese. They incorporate some of the traditions that her family and her would do that could be different than a regular American tradition. I also love that Josh, who is Ava's brother, he's seen as wanted. He's seen as lusted after, and I'm just yes, Asian men are attractive, and I really like the idea that they really make Ava and Josh very beautiful in the book, because I've read so many romances where the main characters are white or very stereotypical, and it just makes me feel like I could never be a main character myself. I could never be seen as beautiful or have that. I'm always a side character. Like there might be Asian characters in books, but they always tend to be side characters or like have side romances and stuff. I'm just like, no, I want to be a main character. I want to feel beautiful, to feel loved. And I really felt like in this book, I felt that. I was like, okay, like, I don't know. I thought the representation in this really made me feel wanted, which I love. I really, really love that, because I have felt so ugly sometimes for so long reading all of these romances where it's like she has brown hair and green eyes and like a tall slender nose. I'm like, that's not me though. And like, why can't I be seen as beautiful as well? So that's the one thing I will give it. Another thing is that I really, really loved and was shocked by the twists and turns of this book. I found 2 big reveals in this novel and I screamed. I was like, nuh-uh, stop, what? And I was like screaming. I was like, okay, this is actually shocking. I was actually surprised and it got me good. I was like, oh, I am very, very surprised right now. Wow. Because of that, I gave this a 2 out of 5 because I really enjoyed the shock value and the surprises that this book ensued in me. Jaw dropped, you know, with like some of these surprises and stuff like that. So those are all the positives, basically. That's all the positives I can say about this book. The negatives, it just outshined the positives, and it just annoyed me because I really wanted to like this book because I love toxic romances. Like, I read mafia romances all the time. There's so much touch her and you die. Like, I love that. I love a possessive man in a book. Obviously not in real life, but in a book, I love it. I love jealousy tropes. And this book had all of that. But for some reason, in this book, it irked me. Even though they had these, like, big reveals that are really, really shocking, I hated that it was all show and no tell. It was so boring to read, even though I was very, very shocked and, like, actually quite surprised. It was just, like, monologue after monologue. It felt like the ending scene of Knives Out, where the detective just keeps going on and on about, like, how he figured out this, and that, and, like, how he solved the mystery, right? They had that twice in this book, and they were just run-on monologues, and I was like, oh my god, like, was there not another more imaginary way to say this besides big paragraphs of monologues, just like a villainous, like, I did this to you because this, and that. You know, it just was very boring to read. It's like people standing around a room and letting people spew monologue. I'm just like, I need some sort of, like, something to happen. And that happened twice in this book with the 2 big reveals. I was very disappointed in the way that they actually showed those reveals because it was so shocking. It was like a shocking reveal. Another thing I didn't like was that the romance happened so fast. It was so mother effing fast. It was like 0 to 100 so quick. It started out from like, oh, I don't like her, like she's so sunshine, she doesn't know anything about the world, to the next chapter being, she's mine, she just didn't know it yet. And it happened in like 2 chapters. And I feel like a lot of the beginning of the book is them lusting after each other, but not actual connection. I would have been okay if they just, like, you know, lusted after each other and then, like, did the dirty and then have them do the dirty for a while. But as they're doing the dirty, you kind of develop their personality relationship. But they did none of that. It was like they did the dirty, and the first time they did it, he was like, you're mine now, like, I don't want anybody else. I was like, damn, you were literally just only lusting after her. What makes you actually like her for her and, like, want to, like, change for her? You know, like, it just didn't make sense. And it was so quick. It was so quick, I couldn't get behind it. I was like, why do you even like her? And why does she like him? Like, I just don't. I don't get it. Also, there's just so much back and forth. Like, okay, so there's a lot of talk about families and, like, the twists and turns and family dynamics. And in one scene, Alex is talking about his mom because his mom passed away. And he's talking to this guy, and I quote, says about his mom, not what, who, because someone says, like, oh, she was mine, like, like my object. It's like someone wanted his mom, you know? And Alex replies, not what, who? My mother was not an object. So you're saying, okay, so the guy literally said, I was taking what was mine. Alex replies, not what was yours, who, because she's not an object. But then literally in that same chapter, 2 pages later, he says, I was taking what was mine, about Ava, about the main character. And I'm like, okay, so are you basically saying that you respected your mother so much more and saw your mother as not an object, but you see Ava as an object because you're saying what was mine? You were taking what was yours because Ava is yours? And I'm fine with the whole trope of like, oh, like, you're mine, she's mine. Like, I get it. But they just repeated it so many times it wasn't even romantic anymore. I was like, we get it. She's yours. You're taking what's yours. Oh, don't you mean who's yours? Sorry, you know? Like, I was just, like, so confused by this man. I was like, so are you saying Ava is your object? Because you called your mom not an object? By replying to the other guy by saying you were taking what was yours? I don't know. It was just so, like, I was like, what is this man on? Like, he was just so annoying after a while. I was like, anyways, I'm gonna move on from that. That's like a whole rant within itself. It stopped being endearing, him saying that. I get it can be endearing, and it really is endearing when I read, oh, she's mine, you're mine. You know, like, they're like belonging to each other back and forth. It's endearing, but he said it like every other sentence, and they didn't even develop the relationship. I'm like, why do you even want her? Like, what is going on? Yeah, that is one thing. Another thing is that in the end of the book, there's a lot of groveling, okay? A lot of groveling. We love when men grovel in novels. We love it as a book society, you know? But low-key, he was scary a little bit when he was groveling, because it's about context, okay? It's about context, baby, context. Because what he says, and this can be very, like, cute in mafia romances especially, is like, I'll kill any man that ever touches you. And he says that straight up, right? Alex says straight up, I'll kill any man who touches you. Like, that's cute if they're already together, like, in the relationship. This is a point in the relationship where Ava is literally telling Alex, leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. I don't want you around. And he says, I'll take as long as possible until you can forgive me, until you can give me a second chance. And she says, okay, but what if I moved on? And he goes, I'll kill any man who touches you. I was like, dude, what if that's like scary. The way, the context of that was so scary. It's different if they were already together, you know, and like someone tried to like flirt with her and he's like, I'll kill you. You know, that might be a little bit more endearing, but she's literally telling you over and over again, like, you're turning into a stalker, sir. You're turning into a stalker because she does not want you around, and you are pushing her and saying that you'll, like, what if she did want to move on? Like, I know she still had feelings for you, but you effed up big time. What if, because you effed up so big, even though she has feelings for you, she wants to move on? Like, she does not trust you anymore. And you are literally saying you will not allow her to move on and you will kill everybody around you. That's fucking scary, okay? And it's not a light threat. Like, I don't know. That was freaking scary to me. The last thing I'll talk about that I did not like about this novel, the cliche, I stay away from you to protect you trope, right? That's like a trope, right? That's like, that happens a lot. It happens in this novel. He's like, oh, I lied to her because I have to protect her. I'm like, okay, whatever, fine. But I just could not stand by the way that this novel ended. It was not romantic at all. And it just showed that Alex really didn't know Ava at all if he really thought that lying to her would do anything of value in her life. What he should have done, because he like confesses the truth, but on top of that, he confesses the truth about why he's friends with her brother and stuff, but on top of that, he lies so that Ava breaks up with him. But what he really should have done was give her autonomy, tell her the truth, aka the shitty thing that you did on why you're best friends with her brother, and then let her leave on her own. But he chose to lie on top of that. And it was a really, like, very heart-wrenching lie when you knew for a fact that all she wants is honesty, because for her entire life, Ava has been lied to. Ava has been lied to for her entire life. The one thing she cannot handle is more lies. And you did the one thing that she could not handle. That just shows me that Alex really didn't know her at all. So I really felt like the ending of this could have been all the same, with the groveling, with all that, yada, yada, yada. But that when you hit that third act conflict and they break up, she should have left on her own accord instead of him lying to her, because it just was not romantic in the slightest. And this book just confused the F out of me. It was very melodramatic, very, very cheesy, especially the end. And I just didn't feel the relationship in it. The last thing I'll talk about is the smut. If you're going to read this book for the smut, only for the smut, might as well not read it, because it's not that good. The smut is like maybe like 2.5 scenes, but the scenes are like a page long. They're not detailed at all. There's like one good one. And everything else is just kind of like, it just happens in a blink of an eye, and you're like, you can't get into it. You know, if you're reading for the smut, like, you cannot get into it. It's not even good smut. So there's nothing about this book that I felt was worth it, in my opinion. I will read the second one. Definitely. Twisted Games. I will read it. And I will read it quickly. Hopefully it's a lot better than this one. But I was just like, this feels like a 50 Shades of Grey fan fiction, but just didn't give me all of the butterflies that 50 Shades of Grey did. Even though 50 Shades of Grey is not a quote-unquote good novel, I loved it. And I cried so much in those books. I cried so much. I felt all the feelings. I had butterflies in my stomach. But this book had just so much tell and don't show. Yeah, he was like, I love you. I was doing this, and that for you. You're mine, blah, blah, blah. I said, but why? But why? What is the reason? What is the reason? I don't get it. Anyways, that is my rant for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've read this book, please let me know your thoughts. I checked on Goodreads. I did post a review on Goodreads, and it's kind of, there's a lot of 3 to 4 star reviews, and usually on Goodreads there's a lot of 4 to 5. So maybe I'm not the only person who thought that this wasn't like the popular novel it was supposed to be that's on TikTok, because I do see this book a lot on TikTok, because it is one of those like toxic billionaire romances, which I eat up, but this just was not doing it for me. 2 out of 5 stars, and I will see you next time.